Alright, it's been a crazy weekend in terms of prices, but also announcements. So we're going to start things off today with some price spikes, then going into detail, and for a decent section of the video talking about the announcement of Hidden Arsenal, the series, or Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1, which more or less seems to indicate there will not be a Legendary Duelist Season 3. That has a lot of really unfortunate implications for cards that were already to the moon, as people say. And then we'll take a look at a few cards that I think are relatively cheap and maybe might be worth picking up, especially with the rewave of Legendary Collection Kaiba. So let's jump into today's Ion Market. Alright, so like I said, first things first, just a few notables to talk about. And by the way, if you do shop on TCG Player, I will hopefully have my own TCG Player affiliate link soon for Loveshack. Once we do, I'll put it in the description below. So if you guys do buy stuff on TCG Player, you can use my link and it'll go directly towards supporting the channel. Which will allow me to get some more cool content to open for you guys. If you didn't see the Legendary Collection opening that I did today, well, at least today as of the time I'm filming this, I'll put a link in the description below. The pulls were absolutely nuts, and there's some stuff in that set that I think with the reappearance of it on the market may cause prices to drop, and I think you might want to grab them for long term. So let's jump into the video, though. Tri-Brigade Shuraig, the Ominous Omen. I actually talked about this in the last market video too, and it looks like it's gone up even more since then. It was around 19. Now we see it around $23, 25 bucks basically. This just keeps rising. It is a really, really good card in that deck, and you know, we don't know what the Megatons are going to look like. Not to mention they are months away, and we do have a YCS confirmed for remote YCS. So there's a lot of factors to take into consideration there with this card. I would say if you're playing the deck, I would hold on to it, obviously, because it's going to be a necessary component. If you're not, I would say maybe take advantage of the price and make a sale. You should be able to pick this up later on once the tins have come out and this, you know, ideally gets a reprint. Scrap Chimera is another one we covered that has just gone up even more since then. I believe it was somewhere around like 26, 27 when we last talked. And now the near mint first eds are about 40 bucks. So it has gone up even more. Scrapyard seems to be around the same. But I would say that as much as it sounds kind of crazy to say this, Chimera might be a card to actually look to get sooner than later if you do anticipate playing it. The one thing I've noticed, too, is that if you have PayPal and that's how you pay on TCG Player, they do have the Pay in 4 option, which I've actually experimented using myself for some product to open. Basically, it's like it'll split it up over basically every 2 weeks. It'll deduct an even amount. So if you're looking to pick something like this up and you don't want to drop 100 bucks or 120 bucks on the playset all at once, you could split that up. Might be something to look at there. TCG Dad has these moderately played, which I would avoid like the plague. I would go for first ed near mint, and it looks like for the most part that's going to be your best choice considering you're only paying an extra $1 for near mints there. So, obviously Scrap Raptor being a common does save people quite a bit. Harpy's Feather Storm is up quite a bit as well. This one is one that I did recommend and actually that I picked up and it paid off. I wasn't the first to recommend it, obviously, just for reference. I do have a couple up on market now, actually trying to... I just listed them because I'm like, I might as well see if I can make a sale on them. I have them at the lowest at the time of filming, but we'll see where it goes. Really, really good card. It does have cheaper, low-rarity versions, so you certainly don't have to worry about going crazy trying to get that stuff if you don't want to spend the money for the foils, but it does have the 3 printings, 1 super from Sisters of the Rose, common in Legendary Duelist Season 2, and then Duelist Saga, so you can pick and choose and kind of shop around whatever you want to grab for them there. Really good card, though, and the better wind cards come out, the better this card gets, particularly because you can basically shut down all of your opponent's monster effects for the rest of the turn, and that is just extremely powerful. Eva is up even more, likely with Drytron hype. This is a really good card in the Herald decks and stuff, so I don't necessarily fault people going after this. I do think that you could probably find this in bulk. I found a decent handful of these in bulk at one of my locals at like 50 cents each, and picked some up, but unless you get lucky there, these are $5 a piece. And it'll be a card you probably want to play 1 to 2 of. Definitely a really, really solid option for the deck, and could probably do with a reprint, considering that it's Wave of Light, which came out like what feels like 5 or 6 years ago, I think. Okay, so jumping over just a little bit of live market watch stuff going on here. It was announced over the weekend. I think House of Champs is where I saw it for the first time. I don't know who was initially the first to report it. new Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1 collection is coming out in November. I don't know who asked for this. I understand that, like, Barcha and a few other cards are up in price, but, like, this is just not, in my opinion, something that we need. Particularly because, it's trying to, like, advertise stuff to me, particularly because I think that Legendary Duelist Season 3 needed to be a thing a lot more, and this being formatted the same way with the dice and the colored foils and stuff does seem to indicate that will not be the case. One of the theories that I saw from a couple of other Yu-Gi tubers is that maybe they'll make more support for those Hidden Arsenal archetypes, which will drive the prices up, and thereby this set will be justified by the time it comes out. I guess that's a fine, like, you know, piece of hope with maybe some of the OCG sets that don't have their full listings confirmed, whether that's Animation Chronicle or Burst. I think it's Burst Rebirth. I don't know what it's called, the next core set. So maybe, but we're going to take a look at the prices in Legendary Duelist Season 3 and just acknowledge why it's just horrible that they're not, or, well, the sets that would have been in it, and it's just awful that they're not doing this. So it does clarify that, you know, it's a repackage. They're going to provide access to these and rarity bump a lot of them. It's going to have commons, a storyline insert, and, you know, secret rare promos, but unless these are new and or actually relevant, I mean, I can't even think of a secret rare promo from Hidden Arsenal to be like, this is cool. Like, Brio has a secret print. Trish has 2 secret prints. It's not like you could put these, the big, powerful monsters as secrets and just put them as promos and that's going to sell the set for people because, like, we already have that. So it'll have to see whether or not we get new cards or they mix in some other stuff or what the plan is. But as of right now, very disappointed by this. Particularly because if you look at Magical Hero and Immortal Destiny, which was the 2 duelist packs that would have been in Legendary 3, you see the prices on a lot of this stuff is already starting to rise. So Sunrise is around $8, give or take. That's a solid price for this, considering that we may not see a reprint now. So, you know, food for thought on that one. But still going up. Magician's Souls is just insane. $115 for a couple of them. I saw them as high as like $140 over the weekend. It's just a limited quantity. This card should have been reprinted, and maybe it will be in something else, but the price is not anywhere near forgiving, especially for a card that doesn't see a ton of meta relevance right now. $109, $110 basically on the market price, and this is, you know, this was going to be a big selling point for Legendary Duelist Season 3, and now we don't even know where we're going to get it. Maybe King's Court, but they're not going to put all of this stuff in King's Court. Elemental Hero Liquid Soldier is $38. Someone trying to make a sale there. That's good to see. Although that's an unlim, so maybe not. First Ed, $60. And then, you know, $40 for the unlim. That's one listing. They very quickly go to like 53 after that. This card was 35-ish before that Hidden Arsenal announcement, and people have now spiked them because now it's like, well, this probably isn't due for an immediate reprint. Even if Magician's Souls does make King's Court, I don't see why this would. There's no relation to, like, the theme of any of the sets, so I would be surprised. But this would have been another card that would have been a really good hit in Season 3. Soul Servant, another card I covered last time. It was $35. I said your best bet's to move it. Now I don't even know if that's true. I mean, this card is insanely good for Dark Magicians. Maybe they'll get more support with King's Court or with the Megatins. We don't know. But, you know, is this going to see reprint anytime soon? The idea was sell this, pick it back up when it drops, but it doesn't seem to be dropping, and considering the fact that we don't know if or when we'll see it, I would say maybe make your best judgment on that. And then Junk Converters, another super. This was like $2. It's up to about $5. I think it's an insanely good card with future potential. Can't speak today. So another thing to look at, you know, is a Yusei card. Is this going to be slotted into King's Court? I don't think so. Unless they throw some of this stuff in like Animation Chronicle or whatever, which maybe they will. Who knows? We don't even know what that set's going to be for us yet. So just a lot of stuff I'm really not happy about as a player. And then, of course, you know, the 2 biggest offenders, a Dusted Gold, $150. And not to mention, not only that, it's like limited quantities beyond what it was before. So 19 listings, cheapest near mint's $145. This desperately needs a reprint, and now there is no foreseeable reprint in sight for it. Same with Evil Hero Malicious Bane, $140. No reprint in sight. This was another thing that we really needed to put in Legendary Duelist Season 3. They really kind of got it right with the Legendary Duelist quote-unquote special edition formatting with the Kaiba one. I thought that was really well done. I thought Legendary Duelist Season 3 was poised to sort of follow up on that. Dice, like Dark Magician dice, Hero dice, whatever you wanted to do. There was a lot of intrigue there for me, and now it feels like they have kind of screwed us. I will happily admit I'm wrong if we do get an announcement of some kind of alternative, but as it stands currently, I can only react to what's currently going on. That is really disappointing. Okay, enough ranting. Doom King Balladrock is up to $8, and, you know, decent quantities, but they go to 10 pretty quick. Zombies are always a fan favorite, and they do get, you know, it feels like better with time and with more support. Anytime a new zombie card comes out, you know, there's always that question of whether or not it's applicable. I think this structure deck could really use a rewave, simply because between this and Necroworld Banshee, both of which are really, really pricey out of here, that's like $12. Even the commons like Shiranui Solitaire and Glow Up Bloom, it's really starting to become a pricey sealed deck. Maybe an unlimited rewave would make some of these cards more accessible to the general players, but zombies are up in price. Chaos Space is about, well, I should have been more prepared, $10. Really solid card, obviously, that's just been steadily climbing over time. I don't see any immediate reprint for this either. I think it's a good card to have. I wouldn't necessarily love the idea of paying $30 for a playset, but this card just gets better with time, and I think, especially if Dragon Links get some kind of a hit, I don't think it would be this card that gets hit, so it's probably a safe hold, safe pickup if you don't have them. Lastly, I wanted to shout out this one, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. I don't think this card sees a lot of play right now, but I think it has tremendous potential. And at $18, it really does feel like it could become a Borreload Savage Dragon type card, where it goes from 18 to like 45. We know Blazing Vortex is safe from reprints from the Megatins, and I just think this is a card that's kind of slept on right now, but is absolutely one you should look to in the future. And I think at this price, it's probably a good time to invest. Could be wrong on that, just as a preference, but I definitely think that this is a low for this card and might be time to scoop one up if you haven't already. Warrock Mountain is $6. I decided to sell off mine. I paid 2 each on them, sold them off at 5 and change. I made a small profit. It wasn't great, but it feels like it's now trending back in the other direction. As we know, the Warrock support, it's not very good. It's better than the first wave for sure, but it's not going to be game breaking, so people are kind of fighting for making the sales. The prices are going to be driven down. I would say, unless you plan on playing the deck, sell these rather, unless you picked them up super cheap and you don't care and you just want to hold them waiting on that next wave of support. But truth be told, I do think this card will fall back, and then you'll be able to pick it up again cheap later before Dawn of Majesty if we have more. Speaking of cheap, Remus down to $7, 1 for 10 here, but somebody's trying to get, make a sale. $7 to $8. This card has fallen from grace, but it's still really, really good. And, the cheaper it gets, the more I'd say it's not a bad card just to have. Hand Traps, Droll and Lockbird. Ulti got a clearance out, or not a clearance, but cleared out. $200 basically for the cheapest near mint, $190, but it's close. Obviously, I don't love the ulti on this. I think it doesn't really look that great. It's kind of lame, in my personal opinion. I haven't seen, a Euro print, so maybe it looks better there. We actually have a French one. Let's take a look together. Yeah, so it definitely stands out way more on the foreign cards where you can actually see it. So, if you're getting foreign, I guess I'd say it's cool. If you're interested in this, obviously, maybe wait, because the market price was $122, now it's $200. But Droll as a whole has been going up. Structured at common Droll and Lockbird is up to $10 a piece. And the Ultras from Legendary Collection Kaiba are up to, for unlims anyway, $15, so there's definitely no cheap, quote-unquote, alternatives for Droll. I think even the Gold Rare from Maximum Gold is climbing up towards $10 pretty quickly, as people anticipate this card being solid again. So, finally today, Legendary Collection Kaiba is on shelves at Walmart. I can confirm this. I found some. I bought some. I don't know if your Walmart will have them. Some people said that their area Walmarts don't carry a lot of cards, but if you can find them, they should be $35, which is $5 above MSRP. I bought some. I definitely think if you're okay with if you just want to open it, you want to spend some money, and you're okay with potentially losing a little bit there, it's worth it to grab a couple because the value in the set is really high. It will bottom out for a little bit as more flood the market, but I think it will fix itself over time, particularly for some of the more noteworthy cards and foil alternatives, so just some food for thought there. Dragon Shrine's down to $4 right now for the Secret Rare, with people trying to make sales now that it's re-waived. This is a card that will easily, I think, go back up to where it was at 7 to 8 once time passes. Dragon Ravine Secret Rare is a beautiful, beautiful card. On limbs that are about $7. This was a little higher before. I think we'll see it dip maybe a few more dollars as more of those start to come into the market, at which point I would say if you can get this under 5, maybe pick up a playset. Or, alternatively, it could potentially be a hit on the list in July. So, just consider your options and whether or not it makes sense to, invest in these or not. My one card I would say definitely make an effort to grab if you can. Blue Eyes Shining Dragon from this set is seeing a little bit of a bottom out because of the fact that we do have that rewave. I don't know where the cheapest first ed is because it's like a decent amount. So first eds right now are around $10 for this, and unlims are $7. So as the unlims hit the market and the price drops, I think the first eds are a really solid pickup if you want to grab one just to hold. Obviously, this is a card that people like. It has very few printings. The Retro Pack one is just not even a viable option for looking at prices, but this was up and I think will continue to get back to that level at some point. So I definitely would feel strongly about recommending this as a pickup. Spend the extra $2 and go for the first ed if you are going to grab it for collecting purposes, because it will hold way more value over time than the unlim. And to end off today, a couple cards I just wanted to point out that are, slowly, I think, on the bubble, and we'll take a look at them a little bit more, in the next couple weeks. Dimension Shifter, I think it's a good card that just hasn't had a format yet where it's super viable. This is down about $3. It's pretty cheap considering the Megatin promo. It didn't get reprinted like the other two did, but it certainly could. I don't know. $3.50 with a secret rare, so it's basically 10 for a playset. Not bad, and this card will have its uses. Liliona is a really solid card I'm looking at too. $10. There is more Magistus support coming out in the Lightning Overdrive set. I don't know if there's more beyond that, but this is the best Magistus card there is. It searches your spells and traps, as well as just being a neat utility piece for the deck, and honestly, that type of art style and aesthetic is something people in the community really go for. So it could be worth the investment picking these up at 10, seeing if they go up with the new releases and whether or not anyone looks to the deck, or it may not. Just putting that out there. Finally today, Armed Dragon Flash, Secret Rare from Blazing Vortex, is at an all-time low of $6. This is a really, really good card. I could see it having use like Emergency Teleport later. Obviously not to the level of Emergency Teleport because it's way more generic, but this card is really effective, and it's the best Armed Dragon card. It definitely was like being toyed around with Dragon Link at one point. There is a lot of reasons to like this card, and I mean, on top of all of those reasons, just being an Armed Dragon and having collectability on that front should help it. So it's at an all-time low. I don't know how much lower it would realistically drop to, so might be worth looking at on that. So that's going to do it for today's Ion Market. I'm going to thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry if I rambled a little bit, but definitely wanted to take a look at some of those cards. We will be back with more market stuff later in the week, but if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.